السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له. ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له. ونشهد أن سيدنا ومولانا وحبيبنا وشفيعنا وعزيزنا وكريمنا ورحيمنا ونبينا وسندنا محمد رسول الله صلى الله تعالى عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وأتباعه وأزواجه وأنصاره وعلينا معهم. أما بعد، فقد قال الله تعالى عز وجل في القرآن المجيد بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم: يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وكونوا مع الصادقين. وقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم: اتقوا الله حيثما كنت. Respected elders, beloved brothers and sisters, each one of us has a life that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given, and each one of us influence different people at different moments and different stages of our lives. Whether you are a small child, whether you are a senior, whether you are a scholar or a layman, whether you are a professional or not, whether you are educated or not, wealthy or poor, young or old, male or female, every person influences somebody in some capacity. And the Prophet ﷺ left us with one mission, which was بَلِّغُوا عَنِّي وَلَوْ آيَةً. Take my message, spread it, even if it may be one ayah of the Quran. بَلِّغُوا عَنِّي وَلَوْ آيَةً. The problem is, if we were to measure the numbers of Muslims that were prevalent in the time of Rasulullah ﷺ versus the Muslims that are there today, our numbers are in the billions today. At that time, the numbers didn't even hit past few 100,000. However, those people, they took the message of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, internalized it, extended it, and took it across the globe. We too also take the message of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We are also named Muhammad. We also try to keep up with some Islamic practices, but then we fell short on this. Our actions, our vision, our akhlaq, our character, our ibadah, it constantly falls short. And after a lot of reflection and thinking, what is the issue that lives amongst us? I've come to realize that the Prophet ﷺ is a very distant figure to us. The Sahaba, they had seen the Prophet. They had been around him. Or they have heard those who were around the Prophet ﷺ. And immediately it struck into them the love and the desire of Rasulullah ﷺ. But as time moves on and the hearts move on, and when the love of dunya begins encroaching on every single heart, it is very rare to find a heart that also has the love of Rasulullah ﷺ, and which heart can also impact upon us the love of Rasulullah ﷺ. So further reflection upon this, I thought to myself that one of the best ways of loving someone is to know more about them on an individual basis. And I've noticed that many times we talk about Rasulullah ﷺ, what he says, what he did, but we don't actually talk about the individual as a human being. The person as a human, what was his qualities like? How did he look? What was his positioning? What were his features? All of that aspects, most of the time, we fail to touch upon. So then the Prophet ﷺ remains this distant individual who we are not able to relate with. Amongst the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ, when he was going in Hijrah, the story is very famous. There was a woman who had a small, as you would call it, a restaurant. You know, you have Buc-ee's on the way to Houston? She had a little Buc-ee's at that time on the way to Medina. And her restaurant or her place, travelers would stop by, she would feed them, she would give them food, and then they'd pay her. Mind you, she only saw the Prophet one time in her life. She didn't see the Prophet before that day, and she never saw the Prophet after that day. She saw the Prophet ﷺ only one time in her life. And then she goes on to describe the Prophet in one of the most eloquent ways known to mankind. And generally, if you know about the Sahaba, I don't even think I'm going to hit my topic time, but I'll try. Generally, if you know about the Sahaba, only few Sahaba could describe the Prophet ﷺ. Anas bin Malik radiallahu anhu, Ali radiallahu anhu, the wives of the Prophet ﷺ, Zayd radiallahu anhu, few people could describe the Prophet ﷺ. Majority of the Sahaba could not describe the man. Amr bin al-As radiallahu anhu, the famous hadith, he says it's recorded in Sahih Muslim, that on his deathbed when his son said, "Oh my father, you have conquered Egypt and you did this and that, and you are a great individual and your services to Islam are not unknown, but rather they are known to the entire world, what you have done." He listened to his son and he said, "My boy, are you done?" And the boy says, "Yes, Dad, I am done." He says, "Wallahi, I have spent time shoulder to shoulder with the man. I have fought against him, I have fought with him, and then I fought for him after his demise. والله لو قيل لي صف لنا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ما أستطيع فلأني ما أمليت عيني قط إجلالا له." This was the summary of the entire philosophy of the Sahaba, that he says, "Wallahi, I have been so much with him, but if you tell me to describe the man, I fall short, I can't describe him, because I never looked up and got a full glimpse of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam." Ma'bad is one of the exceptions to the rule. She sees the man once, but she doesn't forget him. There was also one more person who described the Prophet ﷺ. His name was Hind bin Abu Hala. He was the child of Khadija radiallahu anha from the prior marriage before Rasulullah ﷺ. And he was also present at the time of the Prophet's wedding. And because he grew up around the Prophet ﷺ, he did not have that same type of ru'b that the other people experienced. The Prophet ﷺ is going through his hijrah, and he arrives at this tent, and Ma'bad has this tent. And the Prophet ﷺ gets there, the first thing he says to her, he says, "Do you have anything to eat or drink?" And she points towards her goat, and she says, Muhammad, this goat has no ability, capability, capacity. It does not have the ability to impart milk. So the Prophet ﷺ says, do you mind if I touch it? Do you mind if I approach it? And she says, by all means, be my guest. So the Prophet ﷺ goes there, and he reads some dua. And then he touches the udders of the goat. And immediately this thin, frail goat begins to expand. And milk begins to gush from this goat. The next steps are mind-blowing. The Prophet ﷺ was in hijrah, running away, hungry, hot, thirsty, tired. You know, when we come back from work, we don't want to talk to nobody. We want our food. I don't want to see the kids. I don't want to see anybody. I want my roti. I want my chawal. I want for Hyderabadi, then it's chawal. Otherwise, it's a roti for everybody else. I want my food. And when the Prophet ﷺ pours it out, the first thing he does, Ma'bad was a very elderly lady. She was an old woman. The Prophet ﷺ takes the milk and first gives it to Ma'bad. When she drinks it, there were three people with the Prophet, Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, Amr ibn Fuhayra, and Laythi. The Prophet ﷺ gave the rest three of them milk to drink as well. When they finished, then the Prophet ﷺ drank milk. Okay, it doesn't stop there. Before the Prophet ﷺ leaves and everyone is full, he takes some milk and he leaves it behind for Ma'bad. And then he gets up and he leaves. Now let me translate this into our language, into something that you're able to visualize. I go to the restaurant, I buy my food, and before I leave some tip behind. The Prophet ﷺ tipped the lady. He left something behind despite him already bringing the milk himself. I once went to St. Louis for a weekend conference, and there was a Muslim restaurant right in front of that masjid, halal restaurant. And I went inside, I was eating, and there was this woman there, and we began speaking to her. I was with females, we began speaking, and then because the conference is coming the next day, I said, can you tell me more about the Muslim community so that I'm able to capture what's going on and what are your thoughts, so that I can advise them based on that. She said to me, she said, I'm a mother who does two jobs. I work over 80 hours a week to make ends meet. She said, why is it that your people, when they come, they don't tip us or give us anything? They don't tip us, they don't give us anything. And then I reflected, and I thought of the story of Ma'bad, and I said, we have this app failure in ourselves. We'll order excessively. We'll order more food. We'll waste it. But when it comes to giving that $2, $3 extra, $5 extra, our hands fall short. If we want to change the level of people and make them grow, they also have a family. I remember one time, it was the day of Eid, the night of Eid. And I got the call that moon has been sighted. So I told the people around me, the sister who was bringing the food, I was with my family, and I said, Eid Mubarak. And she said, my child's Eid is for you, not for me. I have to work tomorrow as well. And I thought to myself that just the ability and the capacity of being able to go somewhere and to be able to eat and have someone bring food to you is mind-blowing. The kings of the past would get this treatment that today our children have on their own that they can get. So anyway, the Prophet ﷺ, he leaves. Abu Ma'bad comes back and he sees the milk there and he's blown away, and he says, Ma'bad, wait, how did this happen? How did the milk get here? Our goats don't give milk. Who passed by? When you tip and they come home with extra money, they'll go back and say, we saw it was a Muslim person, it was a sister with hijab. It was a woman with a hijab or a brother with a beard, or they look different. And then they gave us something. And this was a Muslim who did this for us. These are the characters of a Muslim. So Abu Ma'bad goes and tells Ma'bad. He says, who came? And she said, oh, you missed it. رَجُلٌ مُبَارَكٌ ظَاهِرُ الْوَضَاءَ أَبْلَجُ الْوَجْهِ حَسَنَ الْخُلْقِ. The first thing she says about the Prophet, the man was clean. The man, you see him, top to bottom, ظَاهِرُ الْوَضَاءَ. It wasn't that there was food in his beard or there was looking all over. No. ظَاهِرُ الْوَضَاءَ أَبْلَجُ الْوَجْهِ. When you saw the Prophet, it was as if the sun was lighting from his face. The Sahaba would not describe the Prophet that his beauty was like the sun. Because when you look at the sun for a long time, it will harm your eyes. So they would say the Prophet is like the moon. Because you can keep looking at the moon all night long. So even looking at the Prophet would not harm you. Even the metaphor given won't be a metaphor of harm because it's the Prophet ﷺ. يا صاحب الجمال ويا سيد البشر بوجهك الجميل لقد نور القمر. يا صاحب الجمال يا سيد البشر بوجهك الجميل لقد نور القمر لا يمكن الثناء كما كان حقه بعد أذ خدا بزرقته قصة مختصر. The poet says, you can translate this on your own. For those who understand Arabic and those who understand Urdu, you can translate it on your own. She goes on, and then she says his face was bright. But you know what? It wasn't just that the man was beautiful. Hasan al-Khuluq. His character superseded his beauty. His beauty was something unlike I have ever seen. وَأَحْسَنَ مِنْكَ لَمْ تَرَ قَطُّ عَيْنِي وَأَجْمَلَ مِنْكَ لَمْ تَلِدِ النِّسَاءُ خُلِقْتَ مُبَرَّأً مِنْ كُلِّ عَيْبٍ كَأَنَّكَ قَدْ خُلِقْتَ كَمَا تَشَاءُ. Just one line. وَأَجْمَلَ مِنْكَ لَمْ تَلِدِ النِّسَاءُ. More beautiful than you. Women don't know how to give children anymore. A woman cannot give birth to a child more beautiful than you, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Hassan bin Thabit radiallahu anhu says this. Then she goes on and she says, لَمْ تُعِبْهُ تَجْلَى. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam didn't have a protruding stomach. وَلَمْ تُزْلِ بِهِ سَعْلَى. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was not an individual who was out of shape. He was a person who maintained his shape. You know, mashallah, I was showing some of my friends the other day. I said, I had classmates when we were studying in madrasa. And they were thin sticks. You couldn't get thinner than them. If they got any thinner, they'd disappear. I said, but then something happened magical. They got married. And now I see them, I can't even recognize them. They have become, mashallah. I can see the athar of wedding and marriage upon them. One of the most important things for couples is to look after their physique. The Prophet ﷺ was in his 50s. He is 53 at this time. During this moment of this hijrah, he's 53 years old. As he says, I haven't seen a more beautiful man like that. By the time we're 30, 35, half our hair is gone, half our teeth are gone, and half our health is all over the place. The Prophet ﷺ at 53, it's stunning, stunning. She looks at him and she says, Wasimun Qasimun. She doesn't call him Jameel, she calls him Wasim. Wasim means the more you look at someone, the more beautiful they get. And yes, names have effect on people. She says, Wasimun Qasimun. The man's beauty was I was blown away. Qasimun, she was perfectly proportionate. Neither too tall, neither too short. The Arabic of the hadith is long. And my time is limiting. She says, في عينيه دعج أحور أكحل أقرن. She starts describing the Prophet's eyes in 7 words. Ahwar, she says, you want to look at the whiteness of Muhammad's eyes. The whiteness is white as milk. And if you want to look at the blackness of the eye, Akhal, the blackness was dark as night. And it was beautifully contrasted. The white is perfectly white, and the black is perfectly black. The eyes are arched. The eyebrows are beautiful. They're pointing of a man who knows how to make a decision. They come, but they don't meet. They transcend close to one another. And she says, وَفِي صَوْتِهِ سَهَلْ. When the man would talk, his voice had a crackling sound to it. But it was soft, it was gentle, it was beautiful. كَأَنَّهَا نَظْمُ خَطَرَاتْ حَضَرَاتْ. She says that it was as if there was a pearl, a necklace of pearls, and you could count the words in the Prophet's sentence. She says, neither was his speech short, neither was it long. Neither was the man tall, neither was he short. He wasn't so tall that it would hurt your eyes. She's saying these words. He wasn't so tall that it would hurt your eyes, and he wasn't so short that you would look at him and say, this man's a short man. If he walked next to a tall man, he would seem taller. Immediately, and when people split away, it looked as if he came back to his height. The man was miraculous in nature. And then she doesn't stop there. She says, إِذَا رَأَيْتَهُ, when you see him from far, مِنْ بَعِيدٍ هَابَ. She says you get a feel of awe. Ali radiallahu anhu also describes the Prophet in the same manner. He says, when you see the man from far, you're like, I want to get to know this person. But then you're scared. You know, you see your boss or someone like you really respect, and you're just like, I don't know, I want to go talk to them, but I'm scared. I might say something stupid. I'm like, I don't know. And you're just thinking to yourself. But then she says, وَإِذَا خَالَفَهُ أَحَبَّهُ. But when you come near the man, you will fall in love with the man. When you come near him, you'll fall in love with him. What I want us to take away from today's discussion is your prophet, our prophet, is the most described person in history. History cannot bring an example like Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where the Sahaba even counted the white hair in the Prophet. Anas bin Malik says, I counted the white hair, and it wasn't more than 20 strands. Another narration says there were 17 strands located here and here. How did he eat? He ate with his right hand. Which fingers did he eat with? He ate with his 3 fingers. Okay, when he put his shoes on, what shoe did he put? What foot first? His right foot. When he took it off, left foot first. When he entered the home, how did he sleep? He slept on his right side. He faced the Qibla. Okay, when he went to the restroom, how did he use that? He used it in this manner and that manner. When he spoke, how did he speak? When he smiled, every single thing is documented. But my dear brothers and sisters, we are a nation of iqra, but that doesn't read. We are a nation of reading. We are a nation that began with read. But we've just taken a seat back and let me just subscribe to these podcasts and these YouTube videos and mashallah, share them occasionally on WhatsApp with my friends to show them that mashallah I'm still holy. Learn to read, learn to study. You have libraries here. Shama'il al-Tirmidhi, Imam Tirmidhi's book Shama'il. 55 chapters, about 300 ahadith. Read the book, you'll finish it in 2-3 nights. Get to know the man. Don't just name your children Muhammad. Don't just name your children Aisha. Get to know them. Today you put the kids down, you tell them, tell me about D. Rose, and they'll go on for 10-15 minutes about the man. You tell them about this actor and that actor, and they'll just go on and describe you where they ate and where they drank. But ask our children, my child, tell me 5 things about the Prophet. And our children will fall short. We will fall short. We have idolized everyone else. We've looked for example in everyone else. But the example that's given to us, uswatun hasana, we have forgotten that example. And until we don't remind ourselves, and until we don't learn about the individual, and we learn how one man's few moments influence changed the woman's life, our few moments with people will also change their lives, only if we have the prophetic example in us. Today, our children that we grew up in front of us for 18 years, 20, 30 years, even we can't control them. They don't even listen to us. And the Prophet was a man that he walked past a person, in just few moments in that person, he won that person's heart. We can't even win our children's heart anymore. We can't even win our parents' hearts anymore. We can't even win our friends' hearts anymore. Where are we? And the only answer is because we are far from the prophetic example. We are distant from that example. And that example is the example, in kuntum tuhibbuna Allah fattabi'uni. That example can give you the love of Allah. That's how powerful that example is. And if you don't have that example, then no one's love will come. It'll come for a few moments. And when you start getting closer, it will evaporate and it will disappear. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give one and all the tawfiq to act upon what has been said. Barakallahu lana wa lakum fil Qur'an al-azim wa nafa'na wa iyyakum bil ayati wa dhikri al-hakim. Astaghfirullah li wa lakum lisa'il muslimin fastaghfiruh innahu huwal ghafurur rahim. الحمد لله يعني الأجل الواحد الفرد القديم الأول فأنت مليك الناس ربا تقبل ثم الصلاة على النبي الأول فإني أولا أبدأ بأمر قد بدأ الله تعالى بنفسه ثم ثنى ملائكته المقربين وثلثنا به قال بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على محمد بعدد من صلى وصام وصل على محمد بعدد من قعد وقام وصل على محمد كلما ذكره الذاكرون وكلما غفل عن ذكره الغافلون وصل على جميع الأصحاب علينا معهم رضوان الله تعالى عليهم أجمعين اللهم انصر الإسلام والمسلمين اللهم أصلح أحوال المسلمين في كل مكان اللهم اشف مرضانا ومرضى المسلمين اللهم حبب إلينا الإيمان وزينه في قلوبنا وكره إلينا الكفر والفسوق والعصيان واجعلنا من الراشدين اللهم احفظ المسجد الأقصى اللهم احفظ المسجد الأقصى اللهم احفظ المسجد الأقصى اللهم احفظ دماء المسلمين في كل مكان يا رب العالمين اللهم احفظ دماء المسلمين في كل مكان اللهم احفظ دماء المسلمين في كل مكان اللهم احفظ عزة المسلمين اللهم احفظ عزة المسلمين اللهم احفظ عزة المسلمين إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون أقم الصلاة
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قام